the Dalton Knecht effect that I'm talking about. Listen, it's cool watching the guy do what he's doing, and for me, it's completely unexpected. And I know there's going to be conversations out there and saying Dalton Knecht should be rookie of the year. This okay, whatever happens, happens. I'm not watching the rest of the league, so I don't know if that's realistic or it's not realistic. I saw this morning I was actually looking at what the rookie of the year odds are just to kind of see, okay, what is it? What are the teams that are most like, or what are the players that are most likely to potentially win rookie of the year? He's fifth on that list. Now, that's going to keep growing because he's having a major impact on a team that's going to be competitive this year. So whatever happens, there happens. But to me, this is what I think I get more excited about watching what this kid is doing. Yes, he's only 23 years old, but he's also not 19. Is a big difference of how he can impact the Lakers because he is somebody that, clearly is ready for the NBA. Clearly his skill set is he's not a project. You don't have to wait 2-3 years to see that this guy could potentially have an impact for the Lakers. Let me give you guys a good example here. Let's take the last couple of picks that the Lakers have had. Has Maxwell Lewis done anything for the Lakers? Has Jalen Hood-Schifino done anything for the Lakers? Has Max Christie done anything for the Lakers? Have any of those players that have been drafted by the Lakers, have any of them had impact on this Lakers team? They haven't. And frankly, I don't know how much impact we're expecting from them. We might throw hype around Max Christie and say, hey, this is his third year. It was Darvin Ham's fault. Well, it probably wasn't Darvin Ham's fault. And I think JJ is going to continue to give him some opportunities. But Max Christie doesn't have what Dalton Knecht has in his bag. Jalen Hood-Schifino clearly is A, not a part of the Lakers' future, and B, doesn't have anything near what Dalton Knecht has in his bag. What gets me excited about Dalton Knecht, and the reason why I think he has such an important effect on the Lakers, they are desperate for a player like Dalton Knecht. Listen, the league is desperate for players like a player like Dalton Knecht. You got a dude that's a sniper from the outside. If he gets hot, watch out. In this short amount of games that we've got a chance to watch Dalton Knecht, and it really is just, obviously it's a tiny sample size, but in these games that we've already got to watch Dalton Knecht, you can't, and the rest of the league knows this, you can't leave this dude open. You can't, if you lay off, Utah was trying to run some type of a zone against the Lakers yesterday. That's not a good idea. Here's the effect that Dalton Knecht has on the rest of this team. The effect that he has is, out of nowhere, the Lakers just got a guy that's a real contributor that they didn't have to get through free agency. They didn't have to go trade for, that they didn't have to put, here's a guy taking up $20 million of your salary cap. None of those things happen. And you got a dude that's as impactful so far. I'll make the case, and again, the sample size is too small, but don't be surprised by the time we get to the All-Star break that we're saying, is he as impactful as Austin Reeves? Is he as impactful as a D'Angelo Russell? Is he as impactful as a Rui Hachimura? If we're even having that conversation about Dalton Knecht, that this dude is potentially as impactful as some of these other role players for the Lakers, that's not just found money. That changes everything for the Lakers. I mentioned this last night when I'm doing the post-game show. I mentioned that it was a fun post-game show to do, by the way. I think anytime you have situations like that or predicaments like that, there's already enough hype around Dalton Knecht, but then you have a game like that where he's just going off and he's doing what he's doing. It changes everything. Obviously, that makes it so much funner. But what I'm watching yesterday is, how can Dalton Knecht make Anthony Davis's life easier? How can he make LeBron's life easier? How can he make Austin Reeves' life easier? How can he make D'Angelo Russell's life easier? How can he make Rui Hachimura's life easier? And how can he make JJ Redick's life easier? I don't think anyone is negatively affected by Dalton Knecht. Here's what I mean by that. Is Dalton Knecht taking minutes away from D'Lo? I don't think so. Is he taking minutes away from Austin Reeves? I don't think so. Is he taking looks away from LeBron or Anthony Davis? I don't think so. I think what it does, And this goes back to how he's affecting this Lakers team and why I think this team all of a sudden is completely different now, because Dalton Knecht is a real contributor on this team and a real threat on this team. What all of a sudden he's added to this team that they didn't have. Now Anthony Davis, all of a sudden whoever's guarding AD and whoever's trying to help, you're like, all right, I got to worry about Reeves. Obviously, you got to keep an eye out where LeBron is. Of course, Cam Reddish is not a player that they have to worry about, but Cam Reddish is going to go. He's going to try to slash to the basket. He's got a specific role for the Lakers right now. Whether that changes with Vando down the road, we'll have to wait and see. But all of a sudden, Anthony Davis, whoever's guarding AD and whoever's helping, they cannot leave Dalton Knecht. Maybe that just gives Anthony Davis a little bit more space. LeBron, when he's coming up the floor and he's looking at what his options are. Okay, I got Anthony Davis, of course, arguably one of the best big men in the NBA right now. I got him at the block. I got Austin Reeves that could be a threat as well. But I also have, to start off the season, think about the different players that have played with LeBron over the years. Ray Allen, Mike Miller. Let me think of some other players that have been on this late. Danny Green, and that's not, it's just more of a kind of a spot-up shooter. All of a sudden, LeBron's got a real weapon that he can go to. So maybe somebody gives Dalton Knecht a little bit of breathing space, LeBron finds him. Maybe LeBron decides, well, they're overplaying Dalton Knecht. It actually just opens up the lane for me now. I could get to the basket a little bit easier. Okay, let's look at Austin Reeves. How does Dalton Knecht help Austin Reeves? Austin Reeves is basically asked, hey, we need 16 to 18 a night from you. Sometimes Austin Reeves might be forcing it. Sometimes Austin Reeves might have too many turnovers. Sometimes Austin Reeves is dribbling the ball and it's too much one-on-one ball. He's trying to get by somebody and he's not having success doing it. If now all of a sudden, guys, the lane opens up a little bit more, or Austin Reeves has a threat of passing the ball because Dalton Knecht is there. D'Angelo Russell, you saw some of these highlights. D'Lo is a natural passer. That's what he is. Whether you want him to score, whether you want him to take threes, however you think D'Angelo Russell is or he should be on this Lakers team, in his DNA, he's a distributor. He's got Dalton Knecht on his team now, and opportunities to dish the rock. Dalton Knecht said something. He said something yesterday in the postgame show, something about when he's checking in with D'Angelo Russell, D'Lo is saying, hey, I'm going to be looking for you. I believe him. That is D'Lo. That I think is part of D'Lo's game. The problem with D'Angelo Russell is either he's asked to do things that he's not all that comfortable with, or he's on the floor with LeBron and there's only one basketball for him to be a distributor. So that's the effect that I'm talking about. The effect that I'm talking about is he's making everybody else's life easier because his skill set, because he can go off in a game and go 9 of 12 from the three-point line, which is ridiculous. Guys, you know how ridiculous that is? I saw a lot of people yesterday putting up Klay Thompson's name in the chat. And you know, you don't want to use that too loosely. We're talking about Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is one of the best to do it at his position, one of the purest shooters in the history of the NBA. Catch and shoot. Now, the difference with Klay is one of the best two-way players in the league, and that's kind of what made Klay Thompson separate himself from everybody else. But Dalton Knecht was putting up Klay Thompson type of numbers. 9 to 12 from the three-point line, 12 of 16 from the field. I don't know what he is. Let me look at this actually real quick. I think this is going to be, if I can get this here real quick, because I want to see what his last 3 games are from the three-point line. Because I keep hearing the crew over at Spectrum Sportsnet mentioning it. They keep mentioning how he's shooting from the three-point line, how he's doing all this other stuff. Let me just see his last few games or so, what some of those stats look like. Okay, so their last 3 games is Utah, New Orleans, and San Antonio. Here's what he's shooting from the three-point line in those 3 games. I don't think this one has his actual stats. It just shows that he shot 75% from the three-point line against the Jazz yesterday, 50% against the Pelicans on Saturday, and then 50% on Friday from the three-point line as well. I think against New Orleans, Dalton Knecht was 5 of 10. So take the 5 of 10 that he was, the 9 of 12. So now you're 14 of 22 from the three-point line. And I'll tell you real quick what he shot in San Antonio. I don't think he took many threes against San Antonio, but if he's 14 for 22, add that last game, 2 of 4, 14, 16 of 26. He's 16 of 26 from the three-point line in his last 3 games. That's what I'm talking about with, I don't want to make comparisons to a guy like Klay Thompson, but the dude is putting up Klay Thompson type of numbers early in his career. That's incredible. Just incredible. If you're JJ Redick right now, you got to be feeling so good about what your options are. You took D'Lo out of the starting lineup, didn't hurt you. You took Rui out. You didn't take Rui out of the starting lineup. He hasn't been available. That hasn't hurt you yet. I actually don't know what they're going to do when he comes back. I don't know what they're going to do when Vando comes back eventually, but now all of a sudden you got a much deeper bench. You got other guys that you can depend on. You got other players that will be a little bit more focused on the defensive side. So it certainly gives the Lakers a ton of options. All right, let's read some of your comments here, and then as we keep going here, I want to spend a little time. I'm eventually going to talk about Rob Pelinka and the position that Rob's in. Knecht is a keeper for sure. Yeah, that dude ain't going anywhere. Thank you for the super, by the way. I appreciate that. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, not going anywhere. Definitely not going anywhere. I had somebody tell me yesterday in the chat, they were talking about how, what were they saying? They were saying something to the effect of, the front office is going to trade him. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. He's not going anywhere for a number of reasons. He's not going anywhere because, A, Laker fans actually like him. He's not going anywhere because it would be idiotic to trade what one of the strengths are in the NBA, and you don't typically have those strengths. Lakers haven't had a sniper in forever. I saw somebody here, finally a real sniper on the Lakers. So something to keep in mind. He's not going anywhere for those reasons. Plus, his contract's going to be under a rookie contract. That dude ain't going anywhere. Don't worry about Dalton Knecht. The only thing I'd worry about is if you're trying to grab his jersey, if they've printed out enough of them yet. Dalton is opening up the floor for everyone, 100%. D'Lo plays better off the bench. I'm going to get into D'Lo. There were some reports out there about D'Lo. Maybe the Lakers are less hesitant to trade him because he's coming off the bench accepting his role. I don't believe that, but we'll get into that. I really didn't get a chance to do it yesterday when I was with Sammy talking a little Lake Show. Let's see what we got here. Slee, how does Knecht's game make Reeve and D'Lo's game easier on the offensive end? You got to have attention on Knecht. Guys, there's certain players in the league where you can't give them a second. You can't let them breathe. And if you did, look, yesterday's a good example. And you guys see this, how Dalton Knecht gets a shot off. While the ball is already coming, the dude could already be in rotation. It was one of the prettiest things I used to watch, and I'll use Klay Thompson as an example of this. One of the most just cold-blooded things is these guys that have a quick release. If I'm a player that was leaning towards helping on D'Lo or leaning towards helping on Austin Reeves, or Reeves got past his initial defender, I can't help off Dalton Knecht. Here's another way Knecht helps those two guys. D'Lo could. I'm going to continue to do this, and you guys know that I'm critical on D'Lo's game. I'm not the biggest D'Lo fan. I'm not. But this is one thing I like about D'Lo's game. That dude is not selfish. D'Lo wants to pass the rock. I don't think anybody has looked at D'Angelo Russell and said, you know what, this guy's just trying to get his. That's not D'Lo's game. That might be Kyle Kuzma, or that might be, think of other kind of players that have been on the Lakers in the past where you're like, yeah, this guy's just trying to get his own shot. That's definitely not D'Angelo Russell. D'Lo and Reeves now, all of a sudden, the burden doesn't have to be on them to go get 18 a night. If I'd have told you guys this is a trip to me, and I might have used this example before, but I'm going to use it again. If I'd have told you guys this, that there was a player, if I'd have said this a month ago, there's a player on the Lakers. I want to find the exact stat here. I wrote this down last night. I just thought I thought reading the entire stat line would kind of add a little bit of context to what I'm referring to here. Imagine if I did this a month ago. Imagine if I said, all right, guys, there's a Laker player that's dropped 37 points, had 5 rebounds, went 12 of 18 from the field, and I'm not even going to say the three-pointers. you're going to say, damn, that's a great night for Anthony Davis. Damn, what a night for LeBron James. Dropped 37. Look at LeBron still making it happen. The only other player that I would say could potentially do this on this Lakers roster, if he's on an absolute heater, is D'Lo. D'Lo must have hit 7, 8 threes then, right? Something must have happened for D'Angelo Russell to drop 37. And if I said it wasn't any of those three players, maybe you're going to say Reeves, but is Reeves really dropping 37? I'll tell you who nobody is picking. Nobody's saying Dalton Knecht is dropping 37 in an NBA game in his rookie year, 13, 14 games in, with 9 3-pointers. So when you ask, how does this help some of these other players? It helps everybody. It takes a burden off of all these guys. Now, maybe even two at the trade deadline. This is going to get me to my trade deadline stuff. Now maybe at the trade deadline, maybe you're not targeting a shooter anymore. Maybe now you're much more strategic with what you're targeting. Maybe you're targeting a two-way player, another wing, just to have some more length, or another guy that you can depend on.